I think one of the things that I have to take from the last 24 hours is how important our leader on the pitch has been in the whole bringing Brendan Rodgers. It was released yesterday that even though McGregor has been away with Scotland, he's been pivotal in bringing Brendan Rodgers back to the club. They say the manager, Brendan Rodgers, did say, I have to say, he was a big part of my decision to come back as well, because I had lunch with him for a few hours in Majorca. So it wasn't just Nicholson and Mark Lawwell that went over. Callum McGregor was there too. He had lunch with Callum and he basically spoke about how hungry this group of players are. He says they're young and they're ready to keep pushing forward. And for me, Callum is an absolutely brilliant player on the pitch. His brain, his view of the game is right up there with the very best I've ever worked with. He is robust. He plays games like he's the ultimate professional, says the manager, Brendan Rodgers. It is a bit weird saying that again after all this time, but it's absolutely... It shows you the work that went on in the background. It wasn't just our owner that made the offer. And, you know, I think the fact that Celtic took Callum McGregor over to talk about the squad, to talk about what has happened over the last couple of years, how the players have excelled under the way they played under Ange Postecoglou. And, you know, it'll be a case of when the captain goes and sees the manager, it's like, this is how we've played, this is... they would have talked football. They would have just talked football for a good few hours, and it's heartwarming to see how important Callum McGregor is to this football club. Talking about transfers and everything, you know, it must be quiet in Sevco land because Alan Hutton has been talking about Celtic and a move for Niddy from Leicester, and he said that Celtic will need to pay at least up to £9 million to get their man. He says they might be in a position to spend big. It is well documented now that Brendan's been given a transfer kitty around about 30 million, and I think he will go out and strengthen with top level players. It's not going to be like the last time when he was here when he brought in the likes of Bio. You remember that's but anyway, they might be able to spend that this season because they've got the Champions League football. We have been given a big war chest. We'll call it war chest. That's it. And I hope you liked yesterday's rant, by the way. It was went off on a tangent yesterday. Anyway, will Celtic go out and spend $9 million to make him one of the most expensive players alongside the great and the one and only I wanna be Edward. That was in brilliant times back at Celtic Park. Anyway, moving on. The fact that Celtic have got money to spend, it's going to be interesting to see what he says this afternoon. I will do a video. I might go live after he's been on this afternoon and we'll just have a chat about what exactly to expect from the new Brendan Rodgers. He's obviously been told that he knows the club inside out. You know, domestically we have to continue, and it was good that he said what happened in the past is in the past, and the fact that he said usually when he goes into a club he's got to try and build them up. He's coming into Celtic and he said Ange Postecoglou's done a wonderful job over the last couple of seasons, and it's about building on that. And it is about building on that. It's about continuing the dominance that Celtic have had in the Scottish League since 2000, you know, and it's about making sure that we get into a position to be able to go into the transfer market and spend money. The last time it was well documented the fact that we didn't get McGinn, and I think that was the beginning of the end of the Brendan Rodgers with Celtic, because the fact that he didn't get the type of player he was wanting, we wouldn't spend the money. It's a whole new, you know, it's a whole new background in Celtic now. Peter Lawwell might be still in the background, but the way that Celtic are looking forward and the different markets, he did speak about that in his interview also, spoke about the fact that we're looking at different markets, we're bringing in different types of players, we're willing to spend that little bit more money than we were the last time. And obviously we've got the Norwegian player Odin the Great, on a 5-year deal. We've been after him for some time, and it was great to finally get him in the door. Getting him on a 5-year deal. I think that's something that you're going to see more of Celtic doing, is when they get the right type of player, they're going to be putting them on these 5-year deals, so that the club isn't looking to just get a player in and sell them after a season or 2 seasons. And I think under Brendan Rodgers, he was well aware of the fact that if we bring a player in and he done well that season, there was every chance you were going to only have the player for 1 season. So bringing players in on 5-year contracts is making sure that we can get them in, we can get them into the Champions League and doing well in Europe. He never actually specifically said the Champions League, but let's see if we can do something in Europe. We're all well aware of what happened in 2003. You look at West Ham just recently, they won a cup also in Europe. It's where Celtic really need to be improving from now on. Brendan's come in with that excitement saying, you know, we need to do it. This is where we need to start being as a club. Chris Boyd's been at it again. Let's read this. This is going to be an absolute cracker. Chris Boyd. I've never heard from him for a while. Where's he been hiding? Where has Chris Boyd crawled out from under his rock? Chris Boyd brands Brendan Rodgers' Celtic spin as guff. Here he goes. I wondered. Boyd took aim at the Ultras group, who dubbed their own a fraud. Where have you been, Chris? Where have you been since we won the league? And then we won the Scottish Cup. And then we won, oh wait, that's it. World record trebles. Yes, we won 8. Where's Chris Boyd been? Has he been okay? Could somebody tell me in the comments no, seriously, has he been okay? Rodgers will be paraded this afternoon, but Chris Boyd insists he doesn't buy into the guff that Brendan Rodgers plans to transform Celtic. Oh, Chris, you've always got to... He's been on his rag saying, let's get one thing straight. Brendan Rodgers is certainly an upgrade on Ange Postecoglou. Celtic's new manager has been at the higher level for a longer period than the big Aussie. But regardless of who's in charge at Parkhead, they're not going to make an impact. Dear. I don't think anybody's actually came out and said that we're going to actually make an impact on the Champions League. When we look at the spending power for the likes of Man City and all the big clubs, I mean, there's clubs down south spending 100 million on a player. No one at Celtic has said they're going to come out, so Chris is just he's having his little meltdown as always. Woo! Crazy man. Of course Celtic can come out and say that they're going to do something in Europe, but all they're really concerned about is continuing their dominance, their domestic domination. Oh, there it is again. That's it. That's that fierce spell again. Dermot clearly sees Michael Beale's Rangers as a threat. They win a dead rubber game, and this kind of goes on for the rant yesterday about the split and everything. And it's like Celtic had 4 meaningless games after they won the league, and Ange Postecoglou, by his own admission, changed things around too much to try and look at the different players. And I think he was just letting the incoming manager know the state of the squad, if you ask me. When Postecoglou changed everything and our form dropped, if we still had to win the league in those last 4 games, we would never have changed the team. Rangers would never have got the chance to close the gap. So everything that they're coming out with and seeing... What has Beale won? What has Beale won? Someone tell me. Oh yeah, that's it. He won the COVID Cup. That's enough about them. That is enough. And on that note, tell me if you're going to be at Celtic Park this afternoon. I will do a video straight after that to see what he said, to see what fans think about it. I might do a live actually, so if you're up for that, make sure to check out the channel. I will put it up on the community tab, and I'll also mention it on Twitter, the fact that I'm about to do the live, and we can all get on and have a good chat and make it as interactive as possible, as always, so you can come and have your say live this afternoon. And on that note, have a great day. Top of the league and looking down on the rain.
Lit. Roll up to the party, roll up to the party.